So we are on live now.
Okay. Thank you so much. Probably, can we get started?
Yes, go ahead.
Okay, Prabhuji. So the time right now is 8:43. What is the schedule?
No, we leave it to you. It's an interesting topic. Go on.
Okay.
Whatever. It is 50 minutes, then 10 minutes Q&A. So
50 minutes. Yes, Prabhuji. I'll try to stick to that if I don't please.
Yeah, Eastern time. You will be late. So yeah.
Okay.
You are in Eastern time.
Right. Take it, Prabhuji. Thank you so much. Thank you all very much for this opportunity. Can you hear me? Okay, Prabhuji. Can you hear my voice? Okay.
Yes.
Okay. All right. So first, let's. Today is the appearance day of Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur. Let us offer our humble obeisances and take his blessings before we begin this class. Very briefly, Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur is a genius in our sampradaya. Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur actually gave categorical creativity to us. So he said that any pastime, when we are reading any pastime, we can enjoy it at the literary level. So you can enjoy the story and it gives you entertainment. So literary level, any pastime that you're reading, Krishna's pastime, it gives you entertainment. And at the moral and ethical level, it teaches you how to act morally. And so there is a lot of teaching and edification, just like Ramayana, Mahabharata, and so many pastimes, right? And then there is metaphorical. So we see universal principles in action, right? So it gives you intellectual inspiration. So that is metaphorical. And then finally is transcendental. It teaches us how to love Krishna, how to love the Lord. So these four categories. So he actually came up with this categories, and this is Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur's genius. So at different levels, Kanishta, Madhyama, Uttama levels, you can actually approach the scripture, right? Nobody is wrong, nobody is right. Everybody is included in this hierarchy, which is very beautiful that Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur presented. So let us remember him today, take his blessings, and then begin this. I'm very fortunate to be sharing with you Nectar of Instruction by Rupa Goswami, and of course by Srila Prabhupada. And before I begin, I've come here with the blessings of my parents, my teachers, my gurus, and in the audience there are Srila Prabhupada disciples and very senior Vaishnavas. I take your blessings before I speak anything, and if I speak anything wrong, please forgive me as your humble servant. So it is actually said that there are 3 ways to fail at everything. There are 3 ways to fail at everything. There are 3 ways. One is complain all the time. Second is never be grateful. And the third is blame others. So if you do these 3 things, then you will fail at everything. Very simple. Complain all the time, never be grateful, and blame others. So if you want to be successful at everything, all we need to do is not do these 3 things: complaining, being ungrateful, and blaming others. So these are nectarian instructions, but then Srila Rupa Goswami gives us nectar of instruction. So what is this nectar of instruction? So we'll see what these nectar and drops and instructions are. But before we begin, we'll begin with 2 verses. I'm sure many of you know these verses. This is verse number 7. Syat Krishna nama charitadi sitapya vidya pittopataptara sanasya narochikanu kintvadaradanudiram khalu saeva jushta Swad, 'Swad, 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 ' So we'll get to the translation during the class. The second verse is also one of my favorites. Tannamarupacharitadi sukirtananu smrutyo kramena rasana manasi niyojya tishtan brajetad anuragi jananugami kalam nayedakhilamiti upadesha saram. So these very, very beautiful verses from Nectar of Instruction. So we'll get to them, but for now, let's read the translation by His Divine Grace, Abhay Charana Aravinda Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada ki jai. So the essence of all advice is that one should utilize one's full time, 24 hours a day, in nicely chanting and remembering the Lord's divine name, transcendental form, qualities, and eternal pastimes, thereby gradually engaging one's tongue and mind. Now, in this way, one should reside in Vraja, Goloka Vrindavan Dham, and serve Krishna under the guidance of devotees. One should follow in the footsteps of Lord's beloved devotees who are deeply attached to his devotional service. Beautiful, very, very heavy translation. Just this one verse can be a guideline for us for our entire devotional life. So let's begin with prayers. Om Ajnanatimirandhasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurun Militam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Preshtaya Bhutale Shrimate Bhaktivedanta Swamiti Namine. Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvisesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Srivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna. All right, so so today we're going to be talking about the 11 essential instructions. And so this is the nectar of instruction. So before I begin, I want to give my sincere acknowledgements to, this is our Bhakti Vriksha. And some of you might recognize this Prabhuji. This is His Grace Shami Krishi Prabhuji, Srila Prabhupada disciple. Very fortunate to have him with us. Like Prabhu just said, we moved to Maryland and we are now holding Bhakti Vrikshas remotely. But this was our altar in New Jersey. I have not taken pictures here in Maryland, but this is our altar in New Jersey. I just wanted to show you the deities. Jagannath, Baladev, Subhadra, Nitai, Navadvip Nath. And we also have we also have Laddu Gopalji and Kaliya Krishna. Kaliya Krishna is our forefathers' deity. And we have one other supreme hero in our altar, and that is our Ishtadev Lakshmi Nrsimha Swami. So I just wanted to share the darshan to you all. And now I'll begin the class. So let's begin this class with the Nectar of Instruction. I'm sure many of you have seen this book, Nectar of Instruction. The cover page of this book is Rupa Goswami's Samadhi Mandir, the front page, and the back page is Radha Kund. So, and exactly like that, the first verse tells us about who is a guru, and the last verse tells us about Radha Kund. And so this is our roadway to Radha Kund. Okay, so just 11 verses. Entire Vedic literature summarized in just 11 verses. Now I want to make this interactive a little bit. So you can, Prabhuji, devotees can unmute, right? They can unmute and speak. Is that okay?
Yeah, that is fine.
Okay.
Yeah, because it recorded, we are just trying to minimize Prabhuji, but yeah, so that's okay once.
Okay. Okay. All right. So, all right. So then I'll take that into consideration. Thank you, Prabhu. So in Bhagavad Gita, there are about 700 verses, right? And in Srimad Bhagavatam, there are about 18,000 verses. In Mahabharat, there are about 100,000 verses. In Shat Sandarbhas by Jiva Goswami, there are about 400,000 verses. Now, in addition to these, we have 4 Vedas, 18 Puranas, 108 Upanishads, and then Smritis and Upavedas and Gandharva Vedas. Now, in the Zoom, can you please raise your hand if you have time and energy to read all these? Can you please raise your hand? Right? So this is really, really difficult. Arey bhai, hamara 16 mala jap nahi ho raha. Right? How can we give this much time? So for people like us, I'm speaking for myself. For people like us, Srila Rupa Goswami gives us, bhai, ye sab log, aap sab logon ke liye ye fast food packed in 11 verses. Very, very simple, 11 verses. So devotees are more merciful than actually Krishna. Krishna, 700 Bhagavad Gita verses. But Rupa Goswami, look at him, he's only giving 11 instructions, 11 verses, bas. Huh? So, we have several questions. How should we lead our life? How should we do this? How should we do that? So many questions come. And we need instructions. We need instructions. And instructions of the acharyas are like directions for us, goal-directed directions for us. So questions are very, very important. But we have to ask relevant questions. So one time, one devotee, these reporters, they always used to harass Srila Prabhupada with several questions. So one time they asked Srila Prabhupada, can I ask you a question? Can I ask you a question? So they are asking Srila Prabhupada, can I ask you a question? Srila Prabhupada said, you already asked. Can I ask you a question? Is a question. You already asked a question. So, and then they used to harass him all the time. Can you see God? Can you show me God? All these types of questions. And I'm hearing some noise. I don't know, maybe somebody is not on mute. Okay, all right, no problem. So can you see God? Can you see God? Then, Srila Prabhupada was sitting on his Vyasas and in front of the deities one time. And somebody was asking, can you see God? And he was like, I'm seeing God. I'm seeing deities in the altar. You are standing in between. Sit down. So Srila Prabhupada always used to have Tagada answers for all these people. One time I was going with Gauranga Prabhuji in a car, and he was joking, "Chalo shuru karo questions, athato bhayankar jigyasa." So one time in Kumbh Mela, not this one, the previous year's one, Chowpatty, Radha Gopinath Mandir, they set up a tent, and they had a name written on it. All your questions will be answered. All your questions will be answered. So obviously they meant spiritual questions, So then there was a guy there, and he is like, I went to take shower in the river, and then I lost my wallet, and I'm unable to find it. Do you know where it is? That was his question. So if you go to certain places, you need to know what kind of questions you're asking. You can't go to police station and ask, who am I? Then वो लोग ऐसे सुझाएंगे आपको कि आपको समझ में आएगा कि who you are. So one time I was giving a lecture to some other group, and I was reminding them the importance of questions. If we don't ask questions, then we are like animals, really, right? If you don't have that propensity to question, right? So then, somebody got inspired, and he asked me a question, and he said, "Kattappa ne Bahubali ko kyun mara?" And I was like, so yahi mila aapko पूछने के लिए. So when such questions were asked, Srila Prabhupada, he always used to say, first deserve, then desire. First deserve, then desire. So this is very, very heavy instruction by Srila Prabhupada. First we have to deserve, then we desire. Can you show me God? Can you see God? Are you, do you have the qualification? I'll bring you God. Can you see him? So first deserve, then desire. Now this became my motivation for this Nectar of Instruction summary that I'll try to present in about 40 minutes from now. So the road to Radha Kund, Rupa Goswami very, very nicely articulates in 11 verses. In the first 6 verses, they are in the deserve category. The next 2 verses, they are the central part. They are the devotion. They are like Upadesha Saram, the best of instruction. Upadesha Saram, Iti Upadesha Saram. And then is desire, our desire to go back home, back to Godhead, back to Shri Shri Radha and Krishna. So this is the road to Radha Kund that is divided into deserve before you desire. Okay, so now let's first take the first 6 verses. When we talk about the first verse, it is about sense control, right? Vacho vegam, manasaha krodha vegam, jihva vegam, udaropastha vegam, etan vegan yo vishaheta dhira, sarvam apimam prithivim sasishyat. So this first verse is about sense control. And also it talks about guru. And it also talks about humility and compassion. Okay, so the first one is about controlling your senses. Shripad Shankaracharya, he explains in Viveka Chudamani in verse number 76, I think. He explains Kuranga, Matanga, Patanga, Meena, Bhranga. So he gives 5 categories of animals. Kuranga is the deer, and its weakness is sound. And the hunter plays nice music, and the deer walks towards the hunter and falls in the trap. Matanga is elephant, and its weakness is touch. If you want to trap a huge male elephant, all you have to do is send a female elephant, rub its skin, and then just go like that, and the male elephant falls in a ditch. After it falls in a ditch, it is starved for days together, and then this huge elephant with unimaginable power will listen to a small stick in the hands of the hunter. So that is Matanga, and that's weakness is touch. Patanga is a moth, and that's weakness is sight. And so if there is a fire, the moth goes thinking that there is some, festival going on there, and then it will burn to ashes. Meena, fish, and that's weakness is taste. And that's why the fishermen, they use bait, right, to trap the fish. And the last one is Bhringa. Bhringa is a bee, and that's weakness is smell. And it's very, very attracted to the nice fragrant smell coming from the lotus. It goes and sits in the lotus, and the lotus closes its petals, and that's how the Bhringa dies. So Kuranga, Matanga, Patanga, Meena, Bhringa, 5 categories of animals, 5 weaknesses. And in this verse, Viveka Chudamani, Sripad Shankaracharya explains that if these 5 animals have these 5 weaknesses, what to speak of a human being who has all the 5 weaknesses? That is our situation. Kuranga, Matanga, Patanga, Meena, Bhringa. So Srila Rupa Goswami very, very nicely he illustrates that you have to control first your speech. Words and sword, they are made up of the same letters. So these words that can help somebody can also cut somebody's heart. And the sword can cut somebody's heart, can kill somebody, can also cut apple and offer it as a prasad, as a bhoga to the deities, as prasad to devotees. So the speech is very, very, very important. So one time there was a wife complaining about the husband, and she was saying that he's 50 years old, but he has 2 problems. One is hearing problem, and the second is speaking problem. First is hearing problem. Hearing problem ye hai ki he can't hear the opinions of others. That's the first problem. Second, speaking problem. He cannot stop speaking once he starts speaking. That's the speaking problem. So think about it. Shravanam, Kirtanam, these are the things that we do. And with this practice, we need to control our speech. control our words. The second is mind. And the mind is a very, very tricky thing in our sitting in here, right? Mind, are we mindful? Are mindful of material activities? Dhyayato vishayan pumsaha, right? We need to carefully watch that, right? And the third is anger. Anger is one letter short of danger, and D stands for destruction. So, and the next three things are tongue, belly, and genitals. Now, tongue, belly, and genitals, bodily urges that need to be controlled by Gaurang Prabhu. Once I asked him the same question, how do you control your senses? Then he said, get up early in the morning. That was the advice he gave. So speech, remembering Bhaktivinoda Thakur today, speech, right? Bhaktivinoda Thakur actually says the real silence is to talk about Krishna. So actually I was remembering something by Mukundamala, by Kulashekar Alvar, this Mukundamala Stotra. There is one verse, I want to recite this very, very beautiful verse. Krishno rakshatu no jagatraya guru, Krishnam namadhvam sada, Krishnena khila shatravo vinihita, Krishnaya tasmai namaha. Krishna deva samuthitam jagadidam, Krishnasya dasosmyaham, Krishne tishtati vishwametadakhilam, He Krishna rakshasvamam. So in this beautiful verse, see how many times Kulashekar Alvar uses that word Krishna, right? May Krishna protect us. May I continually bow down to Krishna. My obeisance is to Krishna. Krishna has killed all our enemies. From Krishna alone, this world comes. I am the servant of Krishna. The entire universe rests within Krishna. Oh Krishna, please protect me. This verse is full of the words Krishna, Krishna, Krishna. You know, the reason is that whenever you say Krishna, try it. Whenever you say Krishna, there is Krishna present, because Krishna is non-different from his name. Draupadi was protected by Krishna's name, not by Krishna. Draupadi was protected by Krishna's name. So very, very beautiful, right? So Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur says, our speech, if it is full of Krishna, 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 that is the real speech. So that is the speech, mind, anger, and then the bodily urges. Okay, and then in this verse, we also learn that a person that has controlled his senses is called a Goswami or a Guru, right? Sarvam apimam prithivim sasishyat. Somebody who has controlled his senses, that person is qualified to be a Guru. So Guru, what he does is he solves our puzzle. He is a Tattva Darshi. He's already seen the truth. Because he has seen it, he has solved the puzzle, he will be able to help us. Tadvidhi pranipatena pariprashnena sevaya upadekshanti te jnanam jnaninas tattva darshinaha. That person is Guru, Tattva Darshi, right? And for such a Guru, we need pranipata pariprashna seva. These are our approaches, right? So Guru is not someone who shows miracles. So somebody went to Srila Prabhupada and said, Srila Prabhupada, this is my Guru who sits in the Himalayas, and whenever he comes down, if I touch him, I get an electrical shock. Then Srila Prabhupada said, Arey bhai, tujhe electrical shock hi chahiye, so then why don't you put your two fingers in the terminals, power terminals? Mil jayega shock. Why do you have to go to a Guru for that? Right? A Guru is not somebody who shows miracles. And so one time Radha Gopinath Prabhuji was sharing this pastime, one of his counselees. He came to him and said, Prabhu, I already have a very, very nice Guru. Hamare ट्रेडिशनल बहुत जनरेशन से गुरु है वो, एंड वो भी ऐसे गुरु है वो कि ही ब्लेस्ड आवर हाउस वंस, ही केम टू आवर हाउस. तब से ये आम का पेड़ है इधर, तब से इट इज गिविंग सच राइप एंड रस भरी टेस्टी मैंगोस. सो वो मेरे गुरु है प्रभु. And so Radha Gopinath Prabhu, he couldn't say anything to him. अरे मैं क्या करूं अभी? That is his faith. Okay, ripe mangoes. So ripe mangoes will not tell who is your guru. Huh? So, and then we have Jagat Guru Srila Prabhupada. He tells importance of guru in a very, very simple way in this book, Ocean of Mercy by His Holiness Bhakti Swami Maharaj. I don't know how many of you have read this book. Please read it if you haven't. It's a very, very beautiful book. And in that, in one of the first 3 pages itself, there is this paragraph that talks about so Srila Prabhupada was walking with his disciples on Juhu Beach, and there Srila Prabhupada pointed to these really, really well-groomed dogs that were going with the owners. And then there were like these street dogs that were barking and going everywhere. So he showed those 2 dogs, those 2 types of dogs. And he asked his disciples, what is the difference between these 2 dogs? Then the disciples, chup rahe, so they wanted to hear what Srila Prabhupada will say. And so Srila Prabhupada said, the difference is these dogs have masters, have gurus, and these dogs don't. So those well-groomed dogs, they had masters. That's why they were well-groomed. So if you have a guru, you have a goal, you have a direction, you have a purpose in your life. So that is the importance of a guru. So simply, Srila Prabhupada teaches these big principles. So in the next set of lessons, His Holiness Bhakti Swami also says that the highest ideal of life is selfless service to the Supreme Lord. Selfless service to the Supreme Lord. So in this verse, there's also mention of humility and compassion. So humility, it comes from service attitude. So Srila Prabhupada said, whatever I have done is due to the mercy of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and his Gurudev, Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur. So that was Srila Prabhupada's humility. So Krishna in Mahabharata, Krishna protected the Pandavas. Krishna physically protected the Pandavas so many times, but what Krishna protected of the Pandavas was humility, their humility and compassion. These are the 2 things that Krishna protected of the Pandavas. So first thing was humility. So Krishna teaches humility to Arjuna in many, many episodes in Mahabharata, especially during the war episodes. One time, Krishna and Arjuna were standing on their chariot, and Karna was the opponent, fierce opponent. He was standing on the other side. When Karna was shooting the arrows, Krishna and Arjuna's chariot was going really far. But then when Arjuna was shooting arrows, Karna's chariot was only going a little bit far. So Arjuna was confused. What's going on, Krishna? I'm the powerful warrior here. Why is this happening? Then Krishna told Arjuna, you fool, you know why this chariot is not flying away when this fierce warrior Karna is shooting arrows at you? Because I'm sitting in this chariot. This is what Krishna told Arjuna, and he taught him humility. There is another episode of Bhagadatta. Bhagadatta, he was a Kuruvira, very, very old. His eyes were even getting closed. And in order to keep those eyes open, he used to tie a band. That was Bhagadatta. And he shot Narayanastra at Arjuna. And you know what Krishna does? He lowers the chariot a little bit and escapes the arrow and protects Arjuna. And he teaches him, this is why you are being protected. This is humility. The second one is compassion. Now, after the whole Kurukshetra war, who is blamed for the Kurukshetra war? Krishna is blamed. By everybody, Krishna is blamed for the Kurukshetra war. And who was the one who was fighting? Mostly Arjuna. He's never blamed because Nakankshe Vijayam Krishna Nacharajyam Sukhani Cha. This is what people remember of Arjuna. He was very compassionate, but Krishna was the one who asked him to fight. So this is what Krishna protected of the Pandavas. He protected their humility and he protected their compassion. So without humility and compassion, we will be like animals. That is what Krishna protected. That is what Rupa Goswami is instructing us to have: humility and compassion. Sense control comes from seva, and that seva leads to humility and compassion. And that humility and compassion actually leads to effective japa. It's really, really important. Okay. And so in the second and third verses, very, very simply put, in the second and third verses, Rupa Goswami is telling us, avoid bad things and adapt good things. Avoid bad things and adapt good things. Avoid bad things. Kya hai bad things? Overeating and over endeavoring. Always the status of our heart is dil mange more. Yeah, there are 33 crore demigods. Dil mange more. We have 11 cricket players extra, right? And then overeating. Overeating, and then we have diet now, special diet. So this is atyahara. And then we have gossip, right? Then we have greed, and for greed, there are so many examples. Duryodhana is one example. And then Janasanga, association is really, really important. Association for us is really, really important. If that association is good, it will have good impact. If that association is bad, then it will have bad impact, right? Manthara, right? She's an example of beware of bad association, right? And so, and then we have adapt good qualities, enthusiasm. And Srila Prabhupada defined what is enthusiasm. Endeavor executed with intelligence is enthusiasm, right? And then is determination, patience. And then look at this, association comes again. That is so important. So it is already told that bad association avoid karo, but then good association be include karo. That just tells you association is very, very, very important, right? So avoid bad qualities and adapt good qualities. So one time, just to give you a taste of association, one time a thief entered a kirtan party. This was in LA or San Francisco. This thief entered the kirtan party because he wanted a disguise. So he entered the kirtan party and the police were searching for him but couldn't find him. So he just followed the devotees. And then he started living in the temple. And then he was like, okay, ye kya kar rahe hai sab log? So then he was like, he shaved up. And then he started living in the temple. And then he continued living in the temple. And after so many years, his heart changed. And then he came back. And then he came back to the police station and he said he wants to surrender. His heart has changed. He wants to surrender. Then the police chief, he asked, who are you? What is this up here? So this guy was shaved up, so he couldn't tell what is this guy doing. So, and he said, I've joined Hare Krishnas. And then, oh, what is Hare Krishnas? What do you do there? Then he said, we wake up early in the morning and we chant Hare Krishna, and we wake up early in the morning. What time do you wake up? And he said 2 a.m. we wake up, we chant Mahamantra for 3 hours, and then we read Srimad Bhagavatam, and then we go for book distribution. And then the police chief said, you don't have to come to police station, just be there. That is more strict than police station. So you just be in the temple. That is good punishment for you. And it is helping you. Just be there. So this is Vaishnava association. Just for the few moments, this thief was trying to hide, and look what happened. So this is the power of association. The power of association, being with the devotees. And then is determination, patience, enthusiasm. And when we talk about these things, the one person that comes to our heart is Hanuman, right? Dhriti drishti matir dakshyam. This person, he demonstrated dhriti, drishti. He had a vision. Matir Daksham, he had that intelligence, and then he had that perseverance, he has that patience. All these qualities, look at any successful people, take Amitabh Bachchan, take anybody for that matter. You will see these qualities. Dhriti, Drishti, Matir Daksham, patience, determination, patience, perseverance. So these are the good qualities that we need to inculcate in our spiritual life because we value that spiritual life. And so, and then in the next verses, 4th, 5th, and 6th verses, devotees and devotee relationships are talked about because these are very, very, very precious. Genuine Vaishnava relationships, caring and loving. So one time, one Prabhu was trying to talk to another Prabhu, and he said, "Prabhu, please try to understand my pain." Then this other Prabhu, उन्होंने कह दिया कि मैं जंडूबाम नहीं हूँ. I'm not jandubam that I'm going to understand your pain, or I'm not jandubam that I'm going to cure your pain. So we need caring and loving, genuine relationships. Gifts, dadati pratigrihnati guhyama khyati pruchhati. Giving and receiving. When giving and receiving, giving and receiving gifts, but more importantly, giving and receiving hearts. And of course, Krishna Prasadam. So, and then finally, respect each other, avoid familiarity. Familiarity breeds contempt. We all know these. We all know these, and I'm speaking for myself, right? And then in 4th canto Srimad Bhagavatam, Sanat Kumara, he's teaching to Prithu Maharaj, 3 Gs, okay? We don't need advanced technologies. 3 G kafi hai. Good behavior, guru, and gratitude. 3 things. Good behavior, guru, and gratitude. No matter how educated, talented, rich, or cool you are, how you treat people ultimately tells who you are. How do you treat people? That will tell you how you are. And then finally, don't judge. Do not judge. When individuals are facing difficult times, do not judge. Thinking is difficult. That's why most people judge. कोई आ रहे and बोल रहे कि I'm suffering, Prabhu, I'm going through this problem. Philosophy झाड़ने की जरूरत नहीं है at that point. It's your karma. Suffer. भुगतो. It's your karma. ये सब झाड़ने की जरूरत नहीं है. Just hear. An ear to hear will go a long way. When devotees have problems with other devotees, when they want to speak, ये वैष्णव निंदा, ये मुझे नहीं सुनना, प्रभु जाओ किधर से, please have patience. Please hear them. Please hear them. An ear to hear will go a long, long way. This is very, very important. And then we come to this central part of Nectar of Instruction, that is devotion. And in these 2 verses, Rupa Goswami makes it very, very clear. Krishna's Nama Rupa Katha Kirtan is the real nectar. And then in the 8th verse, he prepares in the 7th verse, and in the 8th verse, he talks about what is the nectar of instruction. Iti Upadesha Saram. What is the nectar of instruction? So let's see first the 7th verse. So what is the real nectar, right? If you ask me what is real nectar, my real nectar is Jaljeera plus Sprite. That's my favorite drink. So that is the real nectar, I'd say. But Rupa Goswami is actually telling us what is the real nectar. What is real nectar? That is Krishna Nama Rupa Katha. Nama Rupa Guna Leela Dhama of Krishna are the real nectar. So the holy name, character, pastimes, and activities of Krishna are all transcendently sweet like sugar candy. Although the tongue of one afflicted by the jaundice of avidya cannot taste anything sweet, it is wonderful that simply by carefully chanting these sweet names every day, a natural relish awakens within his tongue, and his disease is gradually destroyed at the root. So this is what Srila Rupa Goswami is teaching us. Krishna's Nama Rupa Guna Leela Dhama. In Gopi Gita, gopis sing Tava Kathamritam Tapta Jivanam Kavibhiriditam Kalmashapaham Shravana Mangalam Shrimadatam bhuvi grananti ye bhurida jana. So gopis are singing Tava Katha Amritam. Tapta Jivanam. That has become our life and soul. What is that? Tava Katha Amritam. So that is Krishna Katha. So this is the jaundice. Why are we not feeling that sweetness that gopis experienced? Because of jaundice, right? So this conditioning translates into everything that we do, not just japa, everything that we do. We need to wipe our window before we comment on neighbor's neatness. We need to wipe our window first. This is called our conditioning. So one time, Lalu Prasad Yadav ji, he was given salad. He came to America and he was given salad. No, and he said, "Mujhe ye hari patte nahi chahiye mujhe." Then Lalu ji said, "You feed these to your cows and buffaloes, and get me milk and paneer." This is what Lalu ji said. So this is conditioning. This is conditioning. One time there was a German who went to Udupi, and there in a Udupi restaurant, very traditional restaurant, so they served on banana leaf, and they served all the 16 items, and he had a hell of a lot of good time. He ate all the food that was served, and when he was leaving at the door, the manager, he asked, how was the food? And the German said, the food was really, really delicious, but the salad was really rough. Then the manager was shocked. हमने salad तो serve ही नहीं किया यार तुझे. We didn't serve you any salad. Then they looked at his table and they realized that he ate the banana leaf also, because he didn't know that that was not supposed to be eaten. No, leave me khali unknown. So this same German, and then he was walking in the streets of Udupi. Then he realized that on the walls there was cow dung patties. Then he started there wondering, in India, how come these cows and buffaloes, they can walk on the walls and pass stool like this? How can they do that? He was wondering like that because he had no concept of cow dung patties, जो हम use करते हैं India में for biogas or several applications. Yeah. So this is called conditioning. If you need to understand Krishna, if you need to understand Krishna's greatness, you need to read about him. You need to know about him. If you don't know about him, then that will remain there, right? So, so this is the importance of hearing Krishna Katha. Rupa Goswami gives the example of jaundice here, and Srila Prabhupada also talks about that. For jaundice, the medicine is sugarcane juice. So like that, for a deceased person, he must be given the sweetest nectar. That is the holy name. So there are 3 stages, right? Nama Paradha, Nama Bhasa, and Shuddha Nama. At the Nama Paradha stage, we're doing offenses, we have anarthas, and we have ignorance, avidya. At the Nama Abhas stage, we are left with 2 of them, anarthas and avidya. So thankfully, we have transcended the offenses stage. And finally, at the Shuddha Nam, we are free from aparadhas, anarthas, and avidya. One day we'll get there. One day we'll get there. But koshish jari rakhni chahiye, right? Then is the 8th verse, nectar of instruction. We have already read this verse. I'm just going to read the translation. The essence of all advice, the essence of all advice, everything, is that one should utilize one's full time, 24 hours a day, in nicely chanting and remembering the Lord's divine name, transcendental form, qualities, eternal pastimes, thereby gradually engaging one's tongue and mind. The last verse of Srimad Bhagavatam. The last verse of Srimad Bhagavatam is Nama Sankirtanam Yasya Sarva Papa Pranashanam Pranamo Dukkha Shamanas Tam Namami Harim Param. Nama Sankirtanam Yasya Sarva Papa Pranashanam. So chanting is really, 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 really important. Hare Krishna mantra is the yagya for this age. So in the beginning, just like that German, in the beginning, I had no idea that Hare Krishna mantra was so important in Krishna consciousness. I used to think, for everything, they're like Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. So I used to think like that. So one time um, I went to several ISKCON programs in the beginning, and they used, wherever I go, I used to hear Hare Krishna in different tunes, and I used to think, "Arey bhai, tune badal dete hain, but yahi ga raha hai bas." So I went to a North Indian wedding once. In a North Indian wedding, I saw the priest. He was just saying two things: Ramasya patni, Janakasya putri, Savadhanam, Savadhanam. And I went to that wedding, and I come from a very traditional Ramana family in India. And I called up my dad, and I was like, "Dad, ye priest ko to kuch mantra aate hi nahi hai. He's just repeating that two things: Ramasya patni, Janakasya putri, Savadhanam, Savadhanam. That's it. He's और कुछ मंत्र ही नहीं आते इनको." So then it took me 20 years to understand that if wife and husband can be like Ram and Sita, what else do you need? That was the principle that he was emphasizing, that priest was emphasizing. Ramasya patni Janakasya putri savadhanam savadhanam. He was emphasizing that 1,000 times in that wedding. In South Indian weddings, everything is elaborate. South Indian weddings are very, very elaborate. In 3 days, sare Vedas pad lete hain. So even our names are elaborate. Okay. One time, our priest, temple priest, came for Lakshmi Nrsingadev installation ceremony to our place, and he asked me Yajman name, and I told him Raman Krishna Das, and he said, "No, the parents jo bhi naam diya hoga aapko, what is that name?" He was checking with me. So I said, Vinjamuri Sharat Venkata Ramana Kumar. And chakkar aa gaya unko. The priest, he was fasting all day because he was doing that yagya for us. And he was like, "Arey baap re, itna bada name." And he was like, "Same to you." He got so frustrated with me that I told him a very, very long name. So, importance of chanting. So chanting is the most important process in our sadhana. I can say, and our acharyas have said this, 99% of our progress in Krishna consciousness depends on our chanting. There are 3 things we promise at the time of initiation. There are 3 things. First is chanting 16 rounds. Second is following 4 regulative principles. Third is serving the Vaishnavas. These are the 3 things. In that order, look at that. First is chanting 16 rounds. Second is following regulative principles. And third is serving the Vaishnavas. That is the order we need to do things. So 99%. And please read that. The conclusion, and this is from Nectar of Instruction and Srila Prabhupada's purport. The conclusion is that in order to get freed from the material disease, one must take to the chanting of Hare Krishna mantra. And please remember this sentence. The Krishna consciousness movement is especially meant for creating an atmosphere in which people can take to the chanting of Hare Krishna Maha Mantra. That was Srila Prabhupada's statement. Why do we need ISKCON? To create an atmosphere for all of us to chant Maha Mantra. That is the importance of Maha Mantra. So let's see, whenever I present this slide, I go back and chant better rounds. So it actually helps me, and I'm speaking for myself. How not to do japa? How not to do japa? So, yes, cell phones, Facebook. Facebook पे रहते हैं लोग, 2-3 likes कर दो, devotees को खुश कर दो. And WhatsApp, Dandavats Prabhu, Jai Prabhupada, please accept my humble obeisances, Hare Krishna, Hare Bol, Gaur Premanande, Hare Hare Bol. They are typing all that and they are chanting Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna. Typing idhar chal raha hai, texting idhar chal raha hai. So this is why Loknath Maharaj, he came up with the 11th offense for inattentive chanting. 11th offense is having your cell phones next to you when you are chanting your japa. Having your cell phones next to you. Put them in a different room when you are chanting your japa. It helps a lot. Now, the second one is courtesy chanting. Courtesy chanting. Why are you chanting? One devotee said, "I'm chanting for my Gurudev." Hey, bhai, do it for yourself first. Clean yourself first. Baad mein karo. I'm chanting for my Gurudev. This Gurudev gave that japa for your benefit. Chanting while driving. So many devotees chant while driving. No, distracted driving kills, right? This is common sense. You don't need Sanatana Goswami or Rupa Goswami and come and tell you that distracted driving kills. Right? वो billboards रहते हैं ना, signs, वो बता देंगे कि distracted driving kills. How can we chant japa while driving? And then some devotees, I've seen some devotees have pasted japa mala to the steering. Car के steering को चिपकाया उन्होंने. Then I asked him, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare, bhai, how do you make a U-turn? क्या है पूरा? Right? And then some devotees are speed chanting. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Krishna, Hare Ram, Hare Ram, Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. Hare bhai. So this is like this, I don't know how many of you have seen Mechanus Gold. टक 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 घोड़े दौड़ा रहे, हरे कृष्ण हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे राम हरे राम राम, ये डायरेक्ट ये बैक टू गॉड हेड जाएंगे. टक 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 हरे कृष्ण हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे राम राम राम, कहीं रुकेंगे भी नहीं लोग. एंड ऐसे फास्ट फिनिश करेंगे 16 राउंड्स एंड दे विल हाइड द बीट बैग दैट इवन कृष्णा कैन नॉट फाइंड इट. टक 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 हरे कृष्ण हरे कृष्ण हरे कृष्ण हरे कृष्ण. And then we have different types of pronunciation. South Indian, I'm a South Indian. South Indians, we have heavy, बहुत heavy accent होता है. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. And you आप tomatoes रख दो, we will crush them all. Kitchen में जाने की जरूरत नहीं है. So there's different types of chanting, right? Then we have how to do japa. Now that we have seen how not to do japa, how to do japa. All right. So this is one exercise that I do every time I present, and this is, I'm speaking for myself. First, if you are watching this, try this, okay? Very, very fast. Just chant Mahamantra. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Krishna, Hare Ram, Hare Ram, Ram. Second time, slow, thoda. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Third, listen when you're chanting. Listen when you're chanting japa. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Now, fourth one. Listen and also see the name that's on the screen. Listen, but also see the name. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Now we have done 4 types of chanting. You yourself self-evaluate karo which was better. You yourself self-evaluate karo which was better, and you will know. If you chant this way, you might end up spending a few extra minutes, but after 10 years, 20 years, if you ask yourself, did you do good japa? At least you will have an honest answer, right? So think about it. So how to do japa? Early morning japa is recommended because Brahmi Muhurta is very, very good for spiritual activities. And then Srila Prabhupada was asked once, Prabhupada, what pleases you the most? He said, single sitting 16 rounds, Nama japa. That pleases me the most. This is what Srila Prabhupada said. Then many times Srila Prabhupada was asked, what are your instructions when we chant japa? He said very, very simple 2 things. Sit properly, simply hear. Sit properly, simply hear. Bhakti Vasudev Maharaj, one time, he was multiple times he has given lectures in our Bhakti Bruksha, and he was telling us one time he went to one Grihasta's home and their kids came and were talking to Maharaj, and they asked, Maharaj, can we watch TV while chanting japa? And Maharaj was like, of course not. Why would you ask me such a question? Then kids said, kids chote bache unko kya hai? They said, my parents do this all the time. They're watching TV while chanting japa. Can we do that? Is that okay? So it's so much responsibility on us to set good examples, right? And then Srila Prabhupada said clear and distinct pronunciation. So there's different types of chanting, right? Vachaka, Upamsa, Manasik. But Srila Prabhupada always recommended louder, little bit louder, that at least you can hear your japa. So that is the importance of chanting. The reason I spent so much time on this topic is because nectar of instruction is chanting. That is nectar of instruction. Chant japa. Chant good japa. All right. So in the last 3 verses, we talk about the way to Radha Kund. So that is, we are working towards the desire. So we are 9:40 right now. I think we have about 5-10 minutes. I'll wrap up this quickly. So in the last 3 verses, Rupa Goswami establishes what is the importance of Vaikunta, what is the importance of Mathura, what is the importance of Vrindavan, Govardhan, Radha Kund. Gradually he takes. Mathura is the place where Lord Krishna appeared. Vrindavan is where he performed the pastimes. Govardhan is what Krishna raised, and such a loving pastimes. And then Radha Kund. Finally, Radha Kund is over flooded with Krishna prema. And in verse 10, Rupa Goswami talks about how Jnani is better than Karmi, and Bhakta is better than Jnani. And of those Bhaktas, Krishna Bhaktas are better. And of those Bhaktas, Krishna Bhaktas, Gopis are the best. And whenever we say Gopis, so much familiarity, people talk about Rasa Leela all the time. Whenever we say Gopis, but in Gopi Gita, there is a verse that Gopis sing. They say, Nakhalu Gopika Nandano Bhavan Akhila Dehinam Antaratmadruk Vikhanasarthito Vishwaguptaye Sakhaudevan Satvatam Kule. So in this verse, Gopis are telling that we know you are Nanda Baba's son, but we also know that Akhila Dehinam Antaratmadruk. You are sitting in everyone's heart. So they already know that he is Paramatma. Vikhanasa Arthito. Vaikhanasa is Brahmaji. He prayed, that's why you came. Vishwaguptaye. That's why you came. So they know that he is Supreme Lord. So they know that their conception is beyond Bhagavan. So that is the greatness of Gopis. So that is Gopis, and of those Gopis, Srimati Radharani is the ultimate. Of those Gopis, Srimati Radharani is the ultimate, and for her, Radha Kund is very, very dear and is non-different from Radharani. So Varsana Maharaj, His Holiness Varsana Maharaj in New Vrindavan, one time he was explaining that Krishna is the Supreme Lord, and he has made himself accessible to us by his holy name. We take the names of Krishna, Krishna is there for us. Radharani is the consort of the Supreme Lord, and she has become accessible to us through Radha Kund. So just like holy name is for Krishna, Radha Kund is for Radharani. Take a dip, it is like going into the lap of Srimati Radharani, our divine mother. So, and then significance of Radha Kund is explained during Arishtasura pastime. We know this pastime, I'm not going to go over this. Shama Kund and Radha Kund appear, and Arishtasura represents false religions. Arishtasura was actually Varatantu. He was a student of Brihaspati, and unknowingly he sat his feet facing Guru. And so Guru cursed him to be born as a bull. And many people in India, they stretch their feet in front of the altars. And when you ask them, ये क्या कर रहे हैं आप? Then they philosophy जानना शुरू कर देंगे. बोलो कहाँ भगवान नहीं है? So where should I point my feet? वहाँ भगवान नहीं है क्या? यहाँ भगवान नहीं है क्या? So they start preaching their own philosophy. False religions, false philosophies ऐसे ही बनते हैं. In India, this is very, very famous. ABCD चलता है India में. That is the philosophy. Astrology, A for astrology, D for devotion, C for cricket, D for Bollywood. यही है philosophy. South India has temples even for Rajnikant, Sachin Tendulkar, जिसकी मर्जी हमारे मंदिर बना है हमारे. So this is Arishtasura represents false religions and false philosophies. So Radha Kund and Sham Kund are actually eternally present in the spiritual world. And Lord Chaitanya actually personally excavated these two kundas that were hidden in the paddy fields in Aritagram. And Raghunath Das Goswami and Jeev Goswami actually built these kundas, what we see today. And on the banks of Radha Kund, Srila Raghunath Das Goswami, he recollects that Lord Krishna came to protect from tigers. Srimati Radharani came to protect from hot sun. And Pandavas appeared as 5 trees on the banks of Shamakund. So on the banks of Radha Kund, Srila Prabhupada received the instruction from his guru, Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, if you ever get money, print books. And those books have become our basis. And these books have become our nourishment, right? Bhagavad Gita, it has been bestseller for 5,000 years. Can you believe it? 5,000 years, the Bhagavad Gita is bestseller. Sripad Shankaracharya in Bhaja Govinda Stotram, he actually says, Bhagavad Gita Kinchidadhita Ganga Jalalava Kanika Pita Sakridapiyena Murari Samarcha Kriyate Tasya Yamena na Charcha Bhaja Govindam Bhaja Govindam Bhaja Govindam. Sripad Shankaracharya is saying, thoda Bhagavad Gita padho every day. Bhagavad Gita kinchidadhita. Ganga jala liva kanika pita. Thoda Ganga jal, matlab thoda prashadam, thoda charanamrit. Sakradapi yena murari samarcha. Thoda deity worship. If you do these things, kriyate tasya yame na charcha. Yamraji, when the time comes, Yamraji hamare case pe charcha nahi karenge, discussion nahi karenge. 3 things: Bhagavad Gita, Ganga Jala, Murari, Archana. These 3 things. So these books, Bhagavad Gita, Srimad Bhagavatam, Bhagavad Gita teaches us how to live. You know, the purpose of Bhagavad Gita was not to make Arjuna a devotee. The purpose of Bhagavad Gita was to teach Arjuna, to remind him of his duty. Right? That is living. Srimad Bhagavatam teaches us how to live, living. Shukadeva Goswami, Parikshit Maharaj. And then Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita teaches us loving. Living, leaving, and loving. This is our literature. This is our Shastra. So, very recently, we also celebrated Radhashtami. So, I just want to end with a prayer to Srimati Radharani, because we are talking about Radha Kund and Radharani. I just wanted to end a prayer with Radhikashtakam by Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami. Kumkumata kanchanabja garvahari gaurabha pitananchitabja gandha kirtinindi saurabha ballavesha shunu sarva vanchitartha sadhika Mahyamatma pada padma dasya dasturadhika Kauravinda kanti nindi chitrapata shatika Krishna mata bhranga keli hulla pushpa vatika Krishna Nitya Sangamartha Padma Bandhuradhika Mahyamatma Pada Padma Dasya Dasturadhika. May Shri Radhika bestow upon us the service of her own lotus feet. Thank you so much. So that was the road to Radha Kund. To become serious in our spiritual practices, deserve with devotion, then desire. Okay. I always end my talk with this. Always remember Krishna. never forget Krishna. Always, always, always remember Krishna and never forget Krishna. Always, always, always remember Krishna and never forget Krishna. Nectar of Instruction ki jai. Srila Rupa Goswami ki jai. Shri Radha Kund ki jai. Shri Radha Damodar ki jai. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Ananta Koti Vaishnava Vrinda ki jai. Nitai Gaura Hari Premanande. Hari Hari Bol. Thank you so much for this opportunity. Hare Krishna. Hari Hari.
Thank you, Prabhuji, so much for wonderful class, and it was an eye opener in everything I do. There are a lot of faults, so long way to go, Prabhuji. So hopefully, I pray need everybody's mercy, your mercy, so that we, our group, everybody can improve today. It was full of instructions beginning to end, and it was the very basic fundamental instruction to start with. There is and nothing we can not even move faster. We are wasting our time if we do not know how to chant properly. So that's waste of time. We get up 4 o'clock. I have a phone to call devotees and all, but yeah, it's unavoidable. But it's a mistake. Hopefully, Krishna will help us.
Krishna Krishna.
So
I'm speaking for myself.
no problem, Prabhuji. Yeah, it's truth, and the beauty is you are speaking as yourself. You are connecting to all of us so nicely, Prabhuji. I can't thank you no much than saying yeah, it's wonderful class. But in the meantime, hopefully devotees will have a lot of questions because we all have difficulties. These are all facts what was told, and we have I don't know how much time we are left with. Maybe you can spare 10-15 minutes if you have
No
somebody
problem.
has questions.
I have some time, Prabhuji, please.
Yeah, so please go ahead, devotees. Prabhuji, Mataji, if you have any comments or questions, let us discuss, or you can comment on anything you find, interesting, or whatever you wanted to share from your experience. Please welcome with your question or comments. Please unmute if you are speaking.
And please forgive me if I made any mistakes. Please forgive me.
Don't think so, but hopefully some questions will come.
Sure.
So while devotees are still thinking, I don't know why sometimes they are little shy. Yeah, any questions? Yeah, that's fine. So I actually you answered. I was thinking why Hanuman picture is there. So you explained everything. So what I could not understand is again there could be some sense. Hanuman again to me again my knowledge is limited. He is a great devotee. Everything we have to learn from him. But I feel he is always impatient. So there's a work patience there. So is it persistence or patience? I think perseverance is fine. Something you said also in that context. Obviously, he was patiently serving Lord. He was doing everything, but he wants to execute immediately. Again, it goes to enthusiastic. He wants to get it done as soon as.
Right, Prabhu. He was not impatient. He was very, very patient.
Yeah. Okay. So
There's
I thought. Yeah, go ahead, Puri. Yeah.
No, there is a very sweet pastime where Hanuman searches everywhere. He's unable to find where Sita Mata is, and then he goes to Ashok Vatika, just one of those odd places. He just goes there, and he's sitting there, and then this is one holy name connection here. Then he starts chanting. He starts chanting Rama, Rama, Rama. Then suddenly the moon that was hiding in the clouds disappear and the moonlight falls on the lady that is sitting there, and that is Sita Mata. And then Hanumanji, that's how Hanumanji finds Sita Mata. He was very, very patiently searching for Sita Mata everywhere. And there, holy name actually, Ram's name actually opened the clouds of darkness and revealed Sita Mata.
Yes, Prabhu. Yeah. Thank you.
Hari, Hari.
Yeah. So yeah, that as you said, taking Krishna's name and anywhere you take his shelter, Rama's or shelter, that is helpful in that context. Somewhere in Bombay or somewhere it happened in India, I don't know. It probably you know that one of the devotee, he never used to. He goes to temple, but his mind will be roaming around. So in one of the class he had that if you are attacked by mad elephant, you have to go down the hill. So he, along with his friend, or they were students that time, how mind wanders. They went to a jungle, so they were attacked by mad elephant. So they are helpless. They are running here and there. Suddenly he remembered about temple, Krishna. Then he remembered, only thing what he remembered is that class. Yeah, you are attacked by mad elephant, you go down the hill. So you are saved. So they finally decided, yes, this is what he remembers. Then they went down the hill. Then that elephant could not do anything. Then went away. Then
Wow.
finally they saved. That's how he developed faith with Krishna, Krishna's devotees. He
Krishna.
become a every step. Krishna helps. So the only thing we don't realize, it's
Yes, Prabhu.
every step. So hopefully somebody will have any questions or comment this time. Otherwise, I will not block you.
Sure, Prabhu.
Anybody?
Also,
Yes, somebody raising hand, Prabhuji.
okay.
Maybe. Go ahead. I don't know whose hand is this.
Lalit Prasad.
Yeah, Lalit Prasad, Prabhuji. Yeah, Prabhuji, welcome. Yeah, go ahead, Prabhuji.
Thank you, Prabhuji, for a wonderful class. I just have some questions regarding the references with Krishna's chariot and the story where the chariot is actually moving slower towards the opponent. And I haven't read that maybe in Bhagavad Gita, and the other reference also you made two references to Krishna's chariot. Where does this information come from? And it's not that I'm denying your
no, Prabhuji.
I'm just curious. Thank you.
So there is a vedabase.com. If you go there, there is Krishna Dharma Prabhu's Mahabharat. It's about 1,000 pages. It's a very, very, very detailed summary, Prabhuji. I highly recommend that. It has a lot of pastimes, Prabhuji. That's where I take Mahabharat pastimes from. And please forgive me, Prabhuji. I think
Thank you.
In the middle of the lecture, I was using Hindi words. Please forgive me, Prabhuji, if you didn't follow. Please forgive me.
Actually, the class was very clear and, it was well balanced. A lot of times, you Sanskrit scholars overwhelm us with your expertise in Sanskrit, telling us that you are very intelligent, and that's, nice of you to tell us that you're very intelligent. That's what I get from a lot of Sanskrit, but your lecture was very nicely balanced, and I thank you so much for your hard work. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Prabhu, the only reason I recite Sanskrit verses is to create that sound that is ultimately purifying, Prabhuji. I'm not trying to show off my intelligence. I'm really sorry if I did that. Please forgive me.
So yeah, Krishna Prabhu, go ahead. So
Hare Krishna Prabhu. Thank you very much. This gives or maybe paints a fresh light on Nectar of instruction. Nectar of so very well presented. Thank you very much. I'm not judging. I'm not qualified to call it a well presented lecture, but it was very crystal clear for a person like me to follow and understand. I wanted to hear your reaction or your take when I say, why do we deserve? Why do I deserve? Maybe I'm speaking for myself again. Why do I deserve to do bhakti, or why do I deserve this opportunity to do bhakti? Why do we? I mean, I've fallen a very maybe impure person like me. Why do I deserve? You said deserve and then deserve devotion and desire, right? So why do I deserve to desire for devotion?
Right. So I'm going to explain this in two ways, Prabhuji. One is our endeavor, and other is Krishna's mercy. Okay. So first is our endeavor, Prabhuji. The 555 sutras, right? Brahma sutras. The first one is Athato Brahma Jignasa. What that means is, now that we have taken birth, this human birth, our first duty is to explore, who am I, who is Krishna, what is the connection, and how do I get there? That is our first and foremost endeavor, now that we have taken this human birth. So that's one way, one approach. That is our endeavor. And the second is mercy. So a lot of Srila Prabhupada disciples asked him the same question. Prabhupada, What is our qualification? What is our qualification? Why did you give us this valuable opportunity of being able to worship, being able to deity worship, being able to serve devotees, being able to take names of Krishna? Why did you give us this? What qualification do we have? And Srila Prabhupada unhesitantly, he replied, you don't have any qualification. I made your qualification. So that is mercy. So one is endeavor and the other is mercy. Our endeavor, and then there is Krishna, Guru, Vaishnava's mercy. Now, somebody might give a lazy take on this and say, Bhagwan Sama, Ananyas Chintayanto Mam. Krishna will take care of everything. I don't have to do anything. That's not the way. So one Brajwasi was actually telling this very, very nice principle that has become very, very practical in my life, is that when you are taking up a seva, when you're doing some activity, you should work as if 99% of the activity depends on your hard work. That's how you should do it. Once you have done that activity, you should think that 99% of it has happened because of Krishna's mercy and 1% because of your hard work. Whenever you're doing it, you should do as if 99% is my responsibility. 1% is Krishna's mercy. But once you have done it, you say 99% is Krishna's, 1% maybe was my endeavor. I hope I answered your question, Prabhu.
Yes, Prabhu, definitely. You clarified. I was like I had this hazy mist in my mind when you said we should deserve. I mean, applying to me, I should deserve. So there is I in there, meaning as if I am putting some endeavor to deserve. So I have some qualification, but now you clarified that it's not because of I, but it's because of the devotee's mercy, and also because Krishna has given us a provision in this life, taking human body and giving us this intelligence to choose the path of devotional service. So it's not, it's there is no I in the question there anywhere in the equation. It's all extra. I mean, like you said, it is all Krishna, and Krishna giving us an opportunity, and devotees are showing us mercy upon because of their compassion. So thank you very much, Prabhu. That gives a different perspective and corrects my understanding. Thank you very much.
Two things though, Prabhuji. So the I, illness, the word illness, ILLNESS, it becomes wellness. If you replace I with we, I replaced with we, illness becomes wellness. That's one part. That's the association. That's the mercy. The I part, you don't need to reject it or disrespect it, Prabhuji. That I part, because ultimately, all you have, this bhautik sharir, this physical body, is Krishna's energy. The spiritual body is also Krishna's energy. तो फिर हमारा क्या है? What is ours? That desire, that free will is ours. So that I is that free will, Prabhuji. That you need to take it to Krishna. That you need to do. Krishna will not interfere. He will wait. He will wait. Until we come, he will wait. Because if he forces, then we become robots. Robots love nahi karte. Robots cannot love. Just that clarification.
Yes,
thank you,
Prabhu.
Prabhu. Very beautiful.
And in my mind, I'm just sorry for I'm elongating. Maybe I'm dragging this talk, but in my mind, I was connecting this to what Vishwanath Chakravarti Tagore says in Madhurya Kadambini, that it's so in your 3 Ds, right? Deserve, devotion, and desire. So devotion, desire. I mean, the qualification comes from devotees, like a Madhyamadikari, and devotion, Krishna plants it, devotees plant it, but the desire is what we can put effort on. That's the only effort we can put on, if I'm correct.
Very, very nicely said. Yes.
Thank you, Prabhu.
Yeah, any other question
Hare
at
Krishna,
this
Prabhuji.
point? Yeah, go ahead once, bro.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Very beautifully explained. You have covered many points that personally I'm struggling. So my question is, Prabhuji, is like the chanting. So when I chant, there is no purity. There is no focus, just like a bag carrying on the wind. So it goes here, there, here. It's like basically like a new fight myself. Like there is no, maybe chant one round, there is no purity. So there is so many distractions. So how to put our mind and our heart together in the chant? And one the continuous question is that how to make Krishna is our priority in the life. Like my like I feel like myself is like a devotion, Krishna conscious, all this stuff. Reading Srila Prabhupada books is like part-time thing. Like when we have time, we can do it. Like not serious. Like how we can make Krishna as our priority in our
Thank you so much, Prabhu. Beautiful two questions. The first one was, how can we make our chanting better, right? That was the first one. There is no purity. How can we get that purity in our chanting? That was the first question. So for that question, Prabhuji, I a very, very simple analogy. Here is, so there was a soldier and there was an army officer. He always used to ask, why are you not coming for training? Early in the morning, why are you not coming for training? And then he would say, I have a lot of Desh Bhakti. I have so much love for my country. I have so much love for my country. So then he didn't come for training. He just kept saying, I have so much love for my country. And then the war came. The soldiers were deployed. And then when he had to aim and fight, this guy was running away. And at that time, the officer, he caught hold of his collar, this soldier's collar, and he said, where did the Desh Bhakti, where did that Bhakti go? You're running away when your country needs you. Where did that Bhakti go? Then he was challenged like that. And so the lesson there is, Prabhuji, we are all a work in progress. And for that, we all need training. So that is why the process that we are taking is sadhana bhakti. It's a training bhakti. We need dosage. We need our exercise. Overnight, we will not lose 15 kilos, right? 15 pounds. Overnight, we will not lose. You'll have to work for it. You'll have to work for it. And very, very simple, Prabhupada, very, very simple instructions Srila Prabhupada is giving. Sit properly, simply here. Sofa mein aise baith ke, you don't have to chant japa like this. Sit properly, simply here. Simply here. Like that, you give time, 2 hours every day. You give that training, and over time, these two things, Prabhuji, Shravanam and Kirtanam, right? Shravanam here, Kirtanam. Read Srimad Bhagavatam. Read pastimes. Read pastimes. Right before the japa, read some pastime. The night before the japa, read pastimes. And let those pastimes ring in your head rather than other things. So this is training, Prabhuji. This is answer to your first question. The second question was, Prabhuji, can you repeat that?
Yes, Prabhuji.
Krishna is not the center of your life. That was the problem.
Yes, how to make priority.
Yeah. So again, first answer is also the answer for second one, is that if you follow that training, you will slowly and gradually develop taste. Right now we're in diseased condition, but gradually we'll develop taste. That's Prabhupada's promise. That is Krishna's promise. Krishna's promise is, I'll tell you this, very, very beautiful. I don't know if you know this. Aham sarvasya prabhavo, this verse, from Bhagavad Gita in the 10th chapter, there are Chatushloki, 4 verses. In that there is this verse, Aham sarvasya prabhavo matta sarvam pravartate iti matva bhajante mam buddha bhava samanvitaha. That last line, Prabhuji, buddha bhava samanvitaha. What that means is you have to use 2 things. Buddhi, intelligence. Bhava, emotion. Intelligence paired with emotion. That's the way to go to Krishna, Prabhuji. And suddenly you don't have to get up today and you're like, I'm not this body, I'm a spirit soul. This is not my family. We don't have to do that. Serve your family nicely. That's a way of worshiping Krishna. Take care of your children. That's a way of worshiping Krishna. Buddha bhava samanvita. Balance. Intelligence and emotion balance kijiye. That's why I was saying that the purpose of Bhagavad Gita is not to make Arjuna a devotee. He's already a devotee. His faith was not shaken. That was not the purpose of Bhagavad Gita. The purpose of Bhagavad Gita is to remind Arjuna of his duty. You do your duty, and Prabhuji, this is one thing that we need to remember. We never know when our clock is going to hit. At that time, the ultimate exam is Antye Narayana Smriti. Can you remember Krishna at that final exam? At that time, Antye Narayana Smriti, Prabhuji. So hopefully that gives you some priorities. We need to do our duties, but at the same time, our first duty is to remember Krishna and never forget Krishna, and make our family members remember Krishna and never forget Krishna. Whatever the activity that you do, Prabhuji, Srila Prabhupada emphasized this so much. Sankirtan, do it with your family together. Do it with your family together. They are your strength. Then Prabhu, they will remind you, Papa, today we didn't do chanting. Papa, today we didn't do reading. They will become your strength. You know, in some of the Bhagavatam verses and some verses, you might see the family members are like sharks. Family members are, you know, you might see those verses, but those family members, if you make them devotees, they will be your strength. They will remind you. And suddenly the TV that is sitting in the center of your house disappears and Krishna comes into that position. You don't even have to try. Naturally, things will happen. Sankirtan, Prabhuji. Doing it together. If you're not doing that, then it will become some or other kirtan.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Thank you, Prabhuji. Dandavad pranam.
And Prabhuji, just one comment. Bansi Prabhu actually joins morning our chanting. His chanting is really wonderful. Anyway, he should realize, as you said, we all are struggling. So it's amazing to hear his chanting, how slowly, systematically he does. But we have to finish certain rounds in 1.5 hours, 2 hours. But everybody has his own difficulties, timing, constant. So that's what he's reflecting honestly, what he's facing. But he's much ahead. That's his humility, Prabhu.
That's his humility, Prabhu. Thank you so much, Prabhu. Krishna. Thank you for that.
Anybody else before we close? We are dragging. I'm not dragging. It's you people are in East Coast time. Prabhuji also in East Coast. And I'm sorry, Prabhuji. Baltimore means it goes to where our devotee is there. Today I realized Baltimore County. When you said Maryland, what is this Baltimore I was talking about? So there is a Baltimore County in Maryland. So that's where you are. Close to Potomac Temple, I believe, Prabhuji. It's far.
Close to Baltimore Temple.
Oh, you are okay. So still you are okay. So I thought Baltimore City. Okay, so it is Baltimore City is same thing or
same thing, Prabhuji. Very close.
Oh, okay. Then okay. I thought it is somewhere Potomac or something. I was thinking. Okay. So we are not that off, Prabhuji. Oh, thank you. So India devotees, thank you again for your time early morning. Any questions for Prabhuji before you close? There is one chance. Please open. You might have something to ask. We are getting so many great devotees from AP. In this call, you are speaking. Our 70-80% speakers are really from AP and Telangana. Really that's a blessed land. When I pass through that Orissa, I see full of greeneries. People are hardworking. So here also, wherever you go, we find devotees from basically Telangana and Andhra Pradesh. Really blessed land, Prabhuji. It's wonderful to hear from you, and the 3-4 devotees are from Hyderabad and nearby places. So any questions or any comments before we close?
Prabhuji, Hare Krishna, Dandavad Pranam.
Hare Krishna, Dandavad.
I really want to thank Lord Prabhuji, Shashtang Dandavad Pranam. It's a wonderful class, Prabhuji. Very attractive and in very simple language, Prabhuji. And using now and then Hindi also attracts a lot, Prabhuji.
Sorry, but
it's good.
And Prabhuji, when you say that after finishing our chanting, we had our chanting bag, even Krishna will not find. It's very, very nice, Prabhuji. Thank you very much, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna. Dandavat Pranam, Prabhu.
So Prabhuji will not hold you. Lakshman Prabhu, thank you so much. As always, very enthusiastic. And please unmute and say big Hari Bol for Prabhuji, and we'll request him to speak again, on something else like Vrindavan Prabhu speaks very directly because he's grooming a group. He knows where to attack, where is our weak points. So obviously we'll invite him maybe shortly in a couple of weeks. Hopefully we'll hear something more. We need his association. Please unmute and say big Hari Bol for Prabhuji and Prabhuji's family. Let them settle down soon so that he will have some time for Krishna and for all of us. Anyway, he has time for Krishna, but for us. Okay, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol. Thank you, Prabhuji.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Thank